Okay, so now let's talk about where you can live in Ireland and accommodation. So let's think about the questions. Where would you like to live? So you need to find a place near your job. It's always a good idea, right? So you don't need to travel too much. Do you want to live in the city centre or a little bit outside? Do you want to share an apartment or share a room? Accommodation is expensive in places like Dublin, so maybe that's something that you need to consider. And is there public transport around? Okay, you don't want to be stuck in some place and there's no way to get to work or get to the city centre or town centre or something like that. Here are some recommended areas in Dublin. There's Rathmines and Ranelagh on the south side, and there's lots of shops, and it's not too far from the city centre. You can nearly walk there. And on the north side, all these places you can walk also to the city centre if you like walking. Um, the Smithfield is a great area, lots of cinemas and pubs and things to do. Then there's StoneyBatter, a great up and coming neighbourhood, and Drumcondra too is a very good place to live. So, as you may have heard, there is a housing crisis in Dublin and around the country in big cities. The reason is there's just not enough houses in Dublin for all of the people. So there's high rents in Dublin. The prices are going up and up and up every year. I think this is a similar situation in many popular cities around the world, like San Francisco and London and Paris as well. So in Ireland, you don't see very many very tall buildings. That's kind of a problem nowadays, because we don't have enough places for people to live. The government are trying to do things about this, but it's not really doing anything. They're still not going to. This is not going to be a problem that's going to be solved soon. It's just going to keep going up. So yeah, probably some of the reason is just because of the popularity of Ireland, right? It's a country that's doing very well, and people are coming to the country, and the tech companies are all based in Dublin and Cork and other cities too. Google and Facebook and all of these people, they need houses and places to live. So the government really focused on jobs, but they never really thought about the next part and where are these people going to live. Okay, so also Airbnb, and there are a lot of tourists that come to Dublin too. So all of these reasons have caused a big problem about finding accommodation for people to live in Dublin. So buying a house in Ireland. So this is kind of a complicated process, as it is in most places. There's kind of an auction style, so the owner of the house kind of sets a price and says, "Oh, okay, I'll sell the house for 500,000, let's say," and you can go in and you can make a bid on the house, right? And they can accept that, or they just wait a bit longer. Maybe somebody else gives a higher bid or higher bid. So, they're obviously going to accept the highest bid that they can. And also take into consideration that there can be 3 to 9% extra costs, okay, associated with buying a house. These can be taxes and costs for auctioneers and things like that. And there's no restrictions for foreigners, so you can buy a house if you want. There's no problem with that. And you see this with a lot of investment firms are buying property in Ireland, and they see it as a good investment. You need a 10% deposit, but it can also take between 6 and 12 months to actually get the keys of the house and move in. It's a bit longer than in other countries, I think, to get moved into your house. So make sure you're ready. You start the process as early as you can, and know that it's going to take time. So I had to find accommodation. Here are some websites. daft.ie is the one that I use to get accommodation. It's probably the most famous one in Ireland. There's also rent.ie and property.ie, maybe more to buy houses, but you can also rent places there. Also networking, like with jobs, you can find a Facebook group for things like this. The Ideal Flatmate Dublin is one such group. So when you organize to see an apartment in Dublin or anywhere else, you need to go and look at the apartment, okay, to see if you like it. Nowadays, there can often be lots of people also looking at the apartment. So, there's kind of a bit of an anxious feeling in the air. Everybody wants to try and get that apartment as fast as possible. Just try to remain calm. It's not going to help you to make your decision. So you can give the deposit then as soon as you get there if you really like the place. It's a seller's market, right? So that means that the landlord, he can find 100 people to rent his place, and because of the lack of supply. And things to have ready, the landlords, they want to see things like pay slips and bank statements, copy of passports, and references of other places that you've lived. So have all that ready before you go to the viewing. You don't want them to say, well, can you show me these things, and you don't have it ready. Okay, be prepared. It's not like a nice thing that you have to do, right? Not a relaxed environment often, but it's not as bad as people say. You can get an apartment. It just might take a couple of weeks, and you get it. There you have it. It's done. Okay.